Hi, sir.
Hello.
Look at this beautiful world just behind us. Now we are on a top of the Stuttgart, this beautiful city in Germany. And you can see all these buildings out there. And there are many people sitting inside and roaming around. What do you think they're doing all these days, or why are they living for, or why do we exist? That's a fundamental question everyone should ask themselves. So why do we exist? What do you think?
The majority of people, they don't lead their lives. They follow what they see around them and what the world tells them. Unfortunately, the world sells people on the idea that they exist for themselves. This concept of individualism.
Yes.
They exist to please themselves and to get things. But as we've observed, Ranjit, the majority of people that we come in contact with, they might not say this, but deeply they're dissatisfied, unfulfilled, and empty. And it begs the question, if that's the fruit of this ideology of why we exist to please ourselves and to get things, maybe it's not right.
And our existence is driven by something, or we are running from something. Our existence, we cannot be stable at a point. We are moving, right? We are moving towards something, or we are moving away from something. And what drives this world nowadays? In your opinion, what drives us?
Well, first and foremost, irregardless of what the world tells you, we are driven by a desire to be fruitful.
Yes.
Secondly, we're driven by a desire to multiply, to procreate.
This is the fundamental aspect of the life, to multiply.
Yes. The reason I put fruitful before multiplication is because if you're not a fruitful individual, then you cannot sustain procreation. So as a young man, if I have no self-control, if I have no financial resources, if I don't have emotional regulation, if I cannot critically think or solve problems, then even if I do procreate, it's not going to be sustainable. Because we are fruitful to multiply, to have dominion, right? Dominion over our household, dominion over our community, dominion over our profession.
Yes.
So it goes back to what drives us to be fruitful. But so many people, they focus just on procreation, multiplication, and dominion without first considering to be fruitful. And this way of living to please oneself and just to get things, you don't have good fruit. It's rotten.
The rotten foods.
And so therefore, when you multiply and have children and procreate, you're instilling these beliefs and principles of hedonism and materialism that perpetuate the cycle of tyrannical dominion.
What is tyrannical dominion?
So we have dominion over our own kingdom,
Absolutely.
ourselves,
Yeah.
right? That's our body, our mind, our heart, and our spirit.
Yeah.
But then we also have, that's internal dominion, but then we also have external dominion over our household, over our role in our community, over our job, etc. When you have rotten fruit, right, that leads you to be tyrannical, to use that power and that freedom of dominion for selfish gain.
And that can also ruin the people around us.
Exactly.
Just a rotten apple sitting in a basket, it ruins everything, right? What could be a solution for this one? So it is to better or get a good version of ourselves, right? So how do you do that? How do we become a better version of ourselves in order to help people around us to to go towards something that benefits or that defends our existence?
I had mentioned the 4 components of who you are, right?
Yes.
When we first started our conversation, you looked out into the world that you see, but I wasn't looking, I was looking at you, because there's a world within you.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So I see a body, but you have a mind, you have a heart, and you have a spirit. So if we reverse engineer it to become the best we can be, is your spirit, right? We are God's creation. He put into us a spirit, a desire to worship, to create, to imagine, right? We have a heart. These are our emotions. These are our heart's desires.
Yes.
Thirdly, we have a mind. These are our mental faculties of critical thinking, of decision making, of assessment and analysis, and processing our perceived world through our perspective and worldview. Lastly, we have a body, right? This is our physiological wellness. This is our motor skills. So in order to be fruitful, we need to develop our spirit. We need to
then
develop.
heart, mind, and body.
Exactly.
And here we have the control of these four, right? Spirit, maybe no, let's say, but heart, mind, and body is better controllable. We can do it.
Yes.
And let's go with mind, because this is something that is so powerful. And humans are one of the animals which can imagine. Like we have this
Yes.
frontal cortex, so we can imagine the future.
Yeah.
And according to the imagination, if we imagine, so there are many people who are depressed, and then many people who are so much happy. And I believe that it is because they imagine a bright future. Right? They imagine something big is coming to their life. And then there is the people who are sad. They have a blood future in front of it. So we can control our mind with just these simple thoughts. And what would you suggest a better option to control our minds? Because this will define our growth and it has effect on everything, right? If we can imagine a bright future, then it slowly empowers us to grow.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this mind's power, this beautiful, huge universe inside our brains?
Root our beliefs, which then affect our thoughts, which then affect our behavior, which influences the actions we take,
Yes.
which in turn produces the results that we experience. So when you're talking about using this incredible mental faculty of our mind to imagine either a bright future or a dark future, I would posit to you that to change one's beliefs, that is the root.
And these beliefs that we have currently has a lot to do with our past,
Big time.
big time.
Our programming.
Yes, and our existence, as you told in the beginning, we couldn't define our existence, let's say, for 5 years or 10 years, because this
Yeah.
was determined, or a plan of our parents that we should exist, right? Then we were born, and then the people who spent time with, the friends we
Our
had,
environment.
right?
Yeah.
This environment is the one factor which grew us, and this has a lot of influence on our physique, on our belief system,
Everything,
right? On our
yeah.
belief system. And we go to a school where there are teachers, right? They tell us how to learn, but we go there actually with an imagination that they are going to teach us. But no, they are just mentors who are going to
Yeah.
change your belief system, right? They are explaining, this is, apple is not falling just like this, because it has this gravity which has, right, the influence, and that's
Yes.
why it is. And these are the mentors. And what do you think that, as the people around us, right, how we can mentor our belief system in a positive manner to have a better future?
Well, first and foremost, it starts with taking personal responsibility, because until the age of 5 to 8,
Yeah.
as you said, we were a product of our parents' influence and their beliefs and principles onto us and our environment. And then in adolescence, we start, to individuate, right? This is where the child rebels, right? To find his or her own autonomy. Now, when we start to get towards the ends of high school into college, or if you go to trade school, we now are faced with freedom. The freedom to choose what we believe and what principles we determine to guide our decision making. Now, a lot of people in the world, as we know, take on the mindset of the victim. That I am a victim to my beliefs and my environment, and I can't change. I'm powerless to change. That's a lie. We can. And we can discover new beliefs through mentors, through reading, and we can go out and we can seek, and it comes from the thought that maybe someone puts into our mind, which I would hope the people watching this, to plant that seed into their brain that maybe there's a different way of thinking. Maybe
Yeah.
there's a different way of perceiving the world around you, and maybe, just maybe, there's a different way of living.